many times did you guys play rock, paper, scissors to figure out that Terrence's name was going first?
Well, we went back and forth for quite some time about whose name was going to go first. And actually how it all came together is at the time we were flipping some houses together and stuff like that. And my dad was kind of helping, with that. We was kind of doing it together. And we're sitting around his house one night and Travis goes, well, Mike, what do you think we ought to call it? He goes, you think we ought to call it Terrence and Harmon or Harmon and Terrence? And my dad said, he said, well, what I would do is whoever passes the test first, their name goes first. And we left that night. And my dad said after we left, my dad was laying there and he goes, told my mom, it's going to be Terrence and Harmon.
Your dad knew you well.
Yep. Yeah. He told her, he said, yeah. But anyway, it took me once or twice. Of course, Terrence, he walked right in, took his managing broker test, and just walked back out. I don't even think he had to have him check it. I think he knew when he walked out, he passed it. So, yep, that's why. Yeah.
How long have you guys been in business now? It's pushing 15, 16 years?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. We haven't been in business long enough to have a 20-year anniversary, so we're shooting for that, of course. But you know how it is. It's kind of like your 30s. From 30 to 40, you really don't know how old you are.
This is true.
Yeah.
I just turned 36 the other day, and I literally had to look at my wife and go, how old am I today? She's like, you don't know? I'm like, well, I haven't texted my mom yet, so she hasn't told me.
Sure.
Your family's been in the auction business for over 40 years now.
Yep.
Now, was that something that your dad started or your grandpa?
My dad and grandpa started it together at the same time. My dad, of course, as a child was at cattle sales and stuff like that. And my grandpa always had different cattle and livestock. And he grew up around it. And then at the time, I guess it was his late 80s. They were kind of ready to invest, buy some properties and stuff. And they were going to buy them together. And the Shipman lumberyard came up for sale in Shipman.
I was a lumber. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a lumberyard. So
makes sense, though.
Well, now it's actually been an auction house longer than it ever was a lumberyard.
I mean, you guys still sell a lot of lumber, so it might as well be a lumberyard.
Still do that, yeah. So at the time, they had negotiated to buy it, and they 50-50 bought it and had it. And my grandpa told my dad, he said, we could probably have some auctions here. We played bluegrass music as a family also. He said you could have some music shows in here. And together they did it and 50-50 and purchased it. And I don't know how many months it took for them to renovate, to set up the stage and put seating in there and how they did it. But within the first year, there was an auction every Tuesday and there was a music show every first Saturday of the month from November to April. So, and then that was for 30 years, which we changed the music now to where we don't play as much, but the auction house is every Tuesday.
Well, and I didn't grow up in the Shipman area, but I worked at a job in Shipman all through high school and college. I've got family that's in that area, and I've always known it. Yeah, every Tuesday night you were going to Harmon's.
Sure.
You went to Harmon's. You might not even have anything in mind that you wanted to buy, but you still went there to visit with all the old guys, Carl Green and all those types of guys like that. What has drove that business to that where it's almost like a family gathering every Tuesday night now? And
It is a family gathering, but yet, the crowds average between 450 and probably 650 people every Tuesday. And we sell between 2 and 3 different estates in one night. Plus, we have an average between 50 and 70 consigners a week also. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of stuff. We run 4 auctioneers in one night. Now, of course, we break it up to where the tools are all out in one building. Then there'll be another building full of antiques. There'll be outdoor, like your lawn garden equipment that's out in another area. Mm-hmm. So every auctioneer has a different type of item that they're selling, but that's what attracts so many people is that one guy may come for tools and his wife may be inside buying antiques. Yeah. And it just draws a larger crowd.
Now, are you running those simultaneously, or is it like, okay, we're just going to sell antiques, and then when those are done, and then we're going to the lawn and garden, and then we're going to tools? Or
we typically set it up. I don't ever like anything to sell that's similar in a different building. It's 4 acres under roof.
Right.
So there's plenty of space to spread everything out. And we kind of, delegate certain buildings to certain stuff. Mm-hmm. So just like I said, I'll be selling tools, cars, tractors, trucks, everything outside or in the other building. And then, of course, yes, the auction of the antiques, it goes on at the same time, which a lot of people that come, they like a little bit of everything. A lot of guys get there. We open the gates at noon on Tuesday, and people bring notepads, and they do a drawing of where all the stuff is that they want, and they've got all the buildings marked. And you'll see guys during the auction, they'll check off when they're in one spot, and then they take off for the next building because they're waiting for something else over there.
Now, do you see most of those clientele guys that are coming in? I mean, obviously you get a lot of the same repeat guys. Are they end users where that guy's buying this trinket, or is it more of a guy he's buying it, taking it to his resale shop, or trying to put it on eBay? Or
it's everything. And everybody always says, well, do you get a lot of dealers out there? Well, yeah, we get a lot of dealers who buy and sell, but really you want the people who buy for themselves also. And we've got a good mixture of that and always have. And that's what keeps the prices fair for the consignor, and it keeps the prices fair for the audience.
Well, yeah, because I figure if you had end users, that's going to jack the price up versus a dealer trying to make sure they make their 30% on it.
Correct.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. So there's a good mixture of everything.
So then you guys have also expanded over the past, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago when you bought Hilltop?
About 6 years they have going on.
Wow.
So Hilltop had been in Alton since 1937. Art Long had a cat, which my dad grew up there at Hilltop at the cattle sales. Art Long was the auctioneer and had it. And then, of course, the Carrolls bought it out after that. And after George Carroll had passed, his son had ran it for a while, and then we purchased it from him. And we've been doing it now for 6 years. And for the first 5 years, we ran every Thursday night there. So we'd have an auction on Tuesday in Shipment, an auction on Thursday at Hilltop. But now in the last year, we've set that back, and we do every first and third Thursdays of the month.
I was going to say, that's got to be a lot of stuff if you're running 2 auctions. And it's going to sound mean, but a lot of people bringing you junk to try to sell to make $1.
Well, that's where we had to cut back on some of that when we purchased Hilltop. Dad had always pretty well had different restrictions he used in Shipment where he would, when a guy pulls into the load, you don't want to send him back home.
Right.
I always say, hey, we can take, your deer mount and a couple other things you got here, but with what you got left, it's pretty well just boxes of dollar items, and it might not even sell.
Yeah.
So we pick and choose. And at Hilltop, we had to start doing that when we first bought it. And it's really come around. It's to where it's a smaller scale sale than Shipment, but we try to keep the quality there for the buyers.
Well, you guys have to be probably Moss Salvage and Community Sanitation's #1 customers for all the stuff that you guys would throw away in those dollar boxes.
Well, yeah, there was that typically, and that's seasonal too. Now, during the summer, we'll take a little bit more of the boxes of stuff, and we sort them. That's the thing about us, is that a lot of auction companies, if somebody just piles everything there, they just sell it.
Yeah.
Well, we have our crew goes through everything. So the boxes, that's nothing for us to take a box that you think would be a $5 box of stuff, and there'd be a $20 item in it. Well, we sort the tools out, everything. So that's where we try to obtain more money for the seller.
So I feel that really sets you guys apart too. I mean, I've been a consignor down there a handful of times now, and you come in there with a trailer load, and you got the guys. I mean, heck, you got 20 guys. It feels like they're pulling stuff out, and they're like, nope, this got to go here. This has got to go there.
But the way my dad is, they work like there are 20 of them.
Your dad can crack a whip for a guy with one leg.
Yeah. He'd do it from a wheelchair.
Yeah. I'll never forget that day I come down there and he was looking at that pair of boots. You think these will fit me? I'm like, one will.
And that's his person. Yeah, that popped off with him real quick. That's his sense of humor or anybody. So, yeah. Well, yeah. And I think in the past you'd ask, what does set us apart from other auction companies? It is very hands-on. I mean, my dad's and mom are still involved.
Yeah.
Dad, now that, of course, after diabetes and he lost a leg, he is focused in on coins, which he's always done coins. But now, during a Tuesday night auction, he'll have 50 to 100 guys in there, and he sells coins for 2 hours. And I mean, good coins and a lot of it.
So you thought about that in Shipment.
Well, yeah. And there's guys, I would say our range in Shipment, as far as people driving, I would say there's probably a third of the people that come from about 2 hours away. Anywhere from Bloomington, Springfield, Branson, Missouri, and they're there every week.
Well, I don't think, and I'm sure that you're going to correct me here because you know more about it than I do.
Even if I don't need to, I'd still like to be able to correct.
Good.
So go ahead.
But I don't know of any other like weekly auctions like this. I know of maybe one or two that do like a monthly auction, but not like constant
Every Tuesday,
constant Tuesday.
Yeah, there's not many in our area that do weekly auctions and had that much stuff to offer in a week's time. There has been a lot of people go to online now, which we do online.
Yeah.
We've done some specialty auctions, sports memorabilia. We did at one point in time. We did a salesman sample auction. So it was all salesman sample
I bet that
from
was
the
neat.
early 1800s, which, when a guy'd walk into a farm, he couldn't carry three, sickle mowers with him.
Yeah.
Well, he'd pull them out of a suitcase and they were to scale. So we did that online. And typically I won't do normal household stuff
Right.
online because our crowd is so big. It
Right.
comes for tools, side by sides, that kind of thing. But if it is something specialty, that's not have enough people in our area, I do put it online and it goes nationwide as far as bidding. So,
Well, and I mean, I personally like the service just for the simple fact that, like, I mean, I'm buying farms and I'm acquiring this and that, and it's like, well, I could take this and throw it in the scrap pile and get 3 cents, or I could take it down to you guys and I'd get $100 out of it. Where we've made money on stuff, like particularly the family farm that I bought. I mean, my uncle was a junk collector, it seems like, and he just had everything. And I think he probably put you through college as much as he bought
was there
stuff.
all the time. Yeah.
So now I'm turning around and selling to you again, which you're getting to make the commission on it twice now.
That's the big circle.
It's the circle of life.
But I mean, like, one thing that you've probably noticed in the stuff you brought over, that if it is something good that's usable,
Yeah.
it usually brings. You've had a pair of boots that didn't fit you at one point in
Yeah.
time. That was a $200 pair of boots. Well, they brought 150.
Yeah.
Or so you don't. If it's something good, I always tell people, if it's something good, it's going to do good.
Yeah.
And if it's mediocre, that's the price you're going to get it.
Yeah, there's been a handful of stuff. I think it's your mom that sends those tickets out, or maybe it's Shelly with the check after the couple weeks after the sale. And I thumbed through them and I'm like, wow, that brought that, and just it's shocking. So we've got to the point now at the shop, and I do like a biannual cleaning, usually one in the winter and one in the summer. Load a trailer up, take it down there, and it's like, oh, we start taking bets in the shop. What's this going to bring?
What's it gonna bring?
What's this going to bring?
Yeah.
Well, then you got to kind of play it safe too. Like I think one time we had like 10 or 15 trailer hitches, and I'm like, I'm not sending all of them at one time. Let's just send 5. We'll send 5 the next time. I don't want to oversaturate the trailer hitch market.
Yeah. Well, you pretty well got it figured out, and you do bring good stuff over when you bring it. And that's what it takes to have a good quality auction. It's
Yeah.
good merchandise to sell. So
Tried to pick up on different things that, oh no, we don't really want to sell this. But then there's certain things too that I've noticed with you. If you're there taking the items off or looking at it, you'll take a little bit more than I can't remember your main guy's name there now, but then he will. And that's garbage. But then you get that ticket. Oh, well, the garbage sold for $10 still. It was still
but
nice.
typically, in that situation, because it's you, or if it's somebody I know, I
Right.
try something that normally we wouldn't try.
Yeah.
But yes, the guys have been trained that we have to cut back.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just unload every trailer that pulls in and unload it all, because we'd never get done cleaning up after the auction.
Oh yeah, you guys
Stuff
be there
that
for a
didn't sell.
month.
Yeah. So
But yeah, it's a heck of an operation, I feel, and it's a heck of a good community service, which I'm sure that being there for 40 plus years now helped kind of launch your real estate career too.
So in the beginning of Tarrant and Harmon, when me and Travis had first kind of come together, I had told him, I said, which we knew each other through high school or after high school, but our lives were good friends. And his plan was to, of course, sell real estate, which he was at the time for, I believe it was Remax he was with early on.
For 2
And
or 3 years, right?
Yeah, and then he wanted to go out on his own, and I told him, I said, man, I need to get my real estate license too, because with the laws in Illinois, as an auctioneer, I can't sell real estate unless you were grandfathered in back before 2000, I think was the
I
year.
believe that's right.
So anyway, he said, well, I can help you do that. So we kind of started working together to get our broker's licenses, which he was going to get a managing broker. I thought, well, I'll get mine too. So we studied together. And at the time, we were new or younger. In fact, I don't think I was 21 yet at the time. And he kind of realized what was going on at the auction and the leads that came through there. And at the time, it was 2002 which we just had a recession
Right after the crash.
right after the crash.
Yeah.
So at that time, Dad had all these different properties that, the phone calls were still coming in to sell them, but there was no market to sell them. And at that time, Dad said, well, why don't you guys take these leads and see if you can do something with them?
Right.
So me and Travis were fresh. We had just got our real estate, our managing brokers licenses. We went into the house. The first one, me and Travis went together. We were in Alton. We walked in. The lady was from Texas. I came in at an early age, but I'd been doing it since I was, I guess right out of high school, of course, too. But I'd been in the auction business since we could carry something out of a house. We were there. So we walked through the house. I told her what we would do with the personal property. I told her what we would do with the house. And she looks at me and Travis and just takes the key and goes, I'm going back to Texas. Here's the key. What do I need to fill out? So we filled the paperwork out, took the key. Me and Travis and the guys, of course, the crew, my brothers and family, came in, pulled all the good stuff out. We cleaned the other stuff out for the lady. Had people come and clean the house up. Listed the house, sold it, and since then it just kept It was a snowball effect. A lot of word of mouth at the time after you did so many.
Well, and I feel that it's a great. I don't know if partnership's the right word because you guys are co-owners, obviously, but Harmon Auction and Tarrant Harmon. I've used both. Obviously, I sell for Tarrant Harmon now, Sports Field, but I just. The amount of stuff that we get to offer now, a couple of states that we've sold, the attorney comes in, hey, I don't want to mess with this stuff, but we can't sell it with this house full. We'll call Mark real quick, and the guys come up with a couple box trailers, and I got to call a couple scrappers to get some trucks out.
And that's a service that most people can't offer it all in-house.
Right, all in-house.
You can have a broker come, but he may have another auction company from a distance away. Then the people have to negotiate with them. Then if that doesn't go smoothly, there's stuff left over. Where in the past, where me and you've done deals together, you've been there.
Yeah.
When we get there with the trucks and trailers, you're there. The person's comfortable. We pull all the good stuff out.
Yep.
You line up to get rid of the other stuff, and you got the listing, and they deal with you the entire time.
Yeah, it's just made it very, very handy. I had another deal I'm working on now. I thought we were going to have to bring you in, but luckily the buyer wants everything. So.
Well, I don't like when that happens.
Well,
I like to be able to come and get stuff for the auction, but that's good.
It worked out well.
Our job is to make sure that the seller is comfortable and it goes as smoothly as possible.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just another tool in the toolbox for us. I feel that, hey, you don't want all this antique furniture? We'll call Mark.
Yeah.
Let Mike and the boys sell it. You mentioned you got 4 different auctioneers running at all given times. Now that's all family, right?
No, not all the way.
Okay.
It's me and my brother and my dad, of course, and then we have another auctioneer out of the Bowling Green area, Enos Gerard.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes over, and of course, he rings at Callaway Cattle Auction. He's auction all the time. And he knows antiques and collectibles really well, antique furniture really good. And he handles a lot of the antiques, of course, in the antique building. And we all split up and do different stuff that night. And we start at 4:30 p.m., and we're typically done by around 8:30.
Yeah. Well, and I think, too, having that different spread, I'm sure your expertise is different than your dad's. Like you said, your dad's really into coins, and Enos is now into the antique stuff. You can't know everything, but if you know equipment and he knows antiques and cattle, it probably helps drive higher sales, I would have to think.
It does, and actually, I started out in the antique building when I started at 16 years old, auctioneer. And at the time...
That was like 2 years ago.
That's 20 years ago. But at the time... certain collectibles such as Fenton, Westmoreland, Roseville pottery, Wattware, all these different types of glassware that I sold, it was a completely different market.
Oh, yeah.
Because that stuff was a generation ago. The ladies and the guys who were buying those kinds of antiques, their grandparents had it and their parents had it. Well, now we're into a different world not a different world, but a different generation buying. I always give this example. 20 years ago, my dad sold an Earl John Deere tractor that brought 600, which I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it brought $600.
It's a lot of money.
My dad had the same one at home. Well, guess what my dad did? He sold his the next week.
Oh, yeah.
Now, because $600, I'm going to sell it. Didn't matter whether I had it as a kid or not. So he sold that. that same tractor today is not worth more than 600. It is only worth around 100 and something now because
wild.
my dad's in his late mid 60s to 70s, and that market is over with. Those people either have it or they're giving it to the kids or the kids don't want it. 20 years ago, a Star Wars lunchbox that's plastic was $20. And now the right one, it's $400 or $500.
For that generation.
Because that generation has changed. Another one I always get people up, I still get it. A lady who maybe in her 80s, 90s has passed. The kids are there. They don't want the china in the china hutch because who wants to clean china after or do you get down to Christmas? Everybody's going to watch football games.
That's exactly
so everybody uses paper plates. But this 20 years ago, that china set was several $100s, and now it's not. But the bowl set that's in the corner, which would be Pyrex from the 50s, the 60s,
Pyrex.
yellow, green, blue, red bowl set, that in the 50s, every parent for their wedding, is gifted. Well, that's what is now $150, $200 because that's what a person in their 40s would remember their mom having. It's all a big circle change of stuff all the time. If they know what they're doing and they have enough sales every week or every month to see the market change, they know what to grab that's going to make you money. That's sell it. I mean, if an auctioneer doesn't know, or he just sends 3 guys who know nothing about what they're doing, they're going to leave $150, $200 Pyrex bowl on the bottom of the cabinet and load up a $20 set of china.
And it's all a sentimental thing.
It is.
There's really no value to it outside of the sentimental attachment that you got one last thing to hold on to mom and dad now that they're gone.
That's right.
Huh. I never even thought about it from that aspect. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
So yeah, you guys have been in, I want to say it was 2009 that you started Tarrant
I
Harmony.
think it was 2009, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And that was a rough go.
Yeah.
That was a rough time right after the recession had hit, the crash. And me and Travis, we laugh now. We'll drive by a house that we had early on in 2009, 2010 that we had on the market for 6 months. And we were banging our head against the wall trying to get it sold. We drive by it now and we said, man, if we listed that right now, it'd be sold in a day.
Right.
Because the market's changed.
It's unbelievable how much. I've asked a couple people today about, well, do you think we're in a buyer's market or a seller's market? And the different answers we've gotten is pretty vast, really. And from where we were 2 years ago to today, it's all over the board. Like, I mean, certain areas I feel are sellers and certain areas I feel are buyer's market.
I think that COVID probably played a little bit of part of that, of in today's world that we're in, you can have 2 houses right next door to each other and one selling a day, the other one take 4 months.
Yeah.
That is kind of post-COVID that I've seen. Now, as far as farmland and recreational property, not so much.
Right.
I think that it's stayed strong in the last probably 8 years.
It has.
I mean, without any doubt.
There's certain areas I feel that are obviously hotter than others. I mean, you do obviously auctions and you sell farms, you sell homes and everything. We're going into a highly, I don't think volatile is the right word, but it's a big downturn in the farm market, row crop farm market, tillable farm market. How do you see these higher interest rates, low commodity prices, high input prices? Do you see that affecting these tillable prices at all coming up?
I'm going to have to say yes.
I would have to think so too.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
I think so. I do feel that, or people that I've spoke to about it, I do believe that in the next 15 or 20 years, they say that I believe over 40% of tillable farmland is going to change hands. And it's going to be the biggest change of ownership in land, what they would call not in wartime.
Right.
You know, war at certain times of war, when of course World War II, of course, but an industry to change hands, which farming is an industry.
100%.
And not many industries. You can't say in the steel business that in 15 years, all steel businesses, 40% of it is going to change hands and owners. But with farmland, I think that's kind of what they're saying.
And they're meaning that more so not like, well, your dad passed down a farm to you, but actually completely changing hands to a whole different farm, corporation, family.
Correct.
Yeah, I can see that. I see a lot of these smaller farms starting to get absorbed, I'll say. I mean, the guys that used to farm 1,000 acres, 2,000 acres, which, I mean, I'm one of them, a 2,000 acre farmer. that is really small now, where it used to be 200-300 was small, and it's hard to compete with these 40,000, 50,000 acre operators.
One thing I would say, of course, I don't row crop farm, but I've got cattle.
Right.
Where I live, I restored a 1908 farmhouse and had about 160 acres and at 30 to 40 head of calves, which I like to just kind of do in my spare time. My wife likes to do it.
Spare time.
Spare time, yeah. So there's a difference in that I don't think. I think with the money and the price range of property coming up in the next 10 years or 15 years, we talk about a fall off.
Right.
And I think that's why we're going to see the industry change as far as people buying that are not family members.
Yeah, I could see that big time. I mean, it's an acre around here is not paying for itself with corn, beans, and wheat. I guarantee it's not paying for itself with cattle or hogs. But I'm seeing a lot of guys too.
You know what they say about cows? They say that everything you make with cows, you spend every bit of it just to have it.
That's right.
And it kind of like that in the aspect.
Yeah, I had a guy tell me once, "Oh yeah, I make all this money on these cows because I mean we don't have inputs here and that there." Well, then he sat down with an accountant one time and he's like, "Well, I wouldn't have had this tractor if I didn't have these cows, and I wouldn't have had this." And he started doing all the numbers. He's like, "I lose $8,000 a year."
Well, what I'll say about that is that what me and you do and our team at Tarrant Carmen Sports Field, it's a lifestyle.
It is. 100%.
I don't have cows just to make money.
Right.
I like it. I know that I bought my farm as a first-time farm buyer. I saved some money there doing my loan with the USDA. So to have some cows, that helped pay for it. I like the way that cows keep the pastures during the summer.
Oh, yeah.
And I rotate them around. I don't have to mow as much.
Yep.
I like the aspect of it, and it is a lifestyle. And that's what we sell to people.
It's 100%. And it drives me up a wall. And now, granted, I'm new compared to you. I've been in the business 5-6 years, whatever it has been now. But it drives me up a wall whenever I go and talk to land agents, because I deal primarily in land, obviously.
Yeah.
Everybody has a house for the most part, whether they buy, rent, whatever. But it drives me up a wall when I talk to these land agents that are trying to push that ideology of, oh, well, the American dream of owning this farm or this or that, or they push, well, you should be getting this much money for cash rent when, one, they don't own a farm, or, hey, that oak tree over there should be worth this much. Well, they're not a logger. Or you could have this nice funnel here. Well, they're not deer hunters. They just, I want to call them used car salesmen.
Well, what I want to say is it's the same as what I spoke about earlier in the auction. Knowing what changes.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
You know the price per bushel. You know what fuel cost is. You know what input, output is.
That's exactly right.
And that's what makes the difference. When someone really wants someone to represent them as an agent, you're a perfect example that you don't know it all.
Right.
But you've got a good idea because you are trying to do the same thing yourself.
And we built a good team of vloggers and this and that, whatever we could call on. But to further your point, I mean, I feel like I walk the walk so I can talk the talk. But I mean, I get a lot of people that are like, oh, you're too busy. You've got this going on. You got that going on. It's like, no, not really. I mean, I've got separate entities, but they really all revolve around one thing, and that's land.
Well, you know what I tell people? I get that a little bit with the auction house, which we have my brother and family members and office staff and people who do it. And I am very hands-on. It's nothing for me to go look at an estate, but while usually I'm there, I am looking at the real estate as well. And people always say, well, you may be a little too busy with the auction to handle, my farm or list my house. And I say, well, just look at my numbers, what I sold last year.
Exactly.
I plan on doing it again this year, and you could be one of them that I'm going to do it.
That's exactly right.
So the numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
And yours numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
When your feet hit the floor in the morning and your feet come off the floor at night and it's dark in the morning, it's dark at night, you're doing something during the day.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. Well, I mean, even then, my wife will roll over, and I'm still on Zillow, on LandWatch, Lands of America, whatever, trying to find the next piece for that buyer that I've got. I mean, we've got a pool of buyers that's 1,000,000 miles deep, and unless you're looking and doing it, and you're living it and breathing it and eating it, I just don't see. I mean, we were talking. I don't remember if it was with you earlier or somebody else. I think it was Craig actually. There's so many agents out there. I mean, we're highly oversaturated in our area, but there's so many of them that it's 9 to 5, and this is not a 9 to 5 deal.
No.
It's not a job. I'm gonna even say it's not a career. It's really a lifestyle, like you had said. It is 100% lifestyle that what we do. I mean, you live, eat, breathe, sleep estates, the auctions, the real estate stuff. I mean, like you said, you go into Sally's house. She's gone now, and the kids called you in, and you're looking at all the antique furniture. And
while I'm doing that,
and
I'm
you're
looking
like,
at the house, I'm looking at the property, and when I get ready to approach them about what I can do for them, I've really usually got a very good game plan where it eases their mind that, hey, he could handle all this. Yeah.
It's
You don't
a
have to
full
find anybody
turnkey
else.
approach. And that's kind of how I position myself in this area where, okay, I can help you buy the farm, and then I can help you fix the farm up, and I can farm it for you so you can get that income.
I'll say this, that like we spoke about earlier, when I said I had some cows.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I just like to do that in my spare time. That is a job.
It is.
You're hunting when you have hunters, which I know looking out across your place here in different farms that you have leased for hunting, you're hunting, but you have people right in their wheelhouse that are hunting on your ground that they want their own.
Yeah.
So you may be hunting, but yet you're still around all these clients and all these new people
all the time
to explore selling a different farm.
Yep.
And that's the same way with the cows. Even though that it's a working hobby, it teaches me about when I go to some place, what a gate's worth, what a fence is worth, what a feeder's worth.
That's exactly right.
What the tractor's worth that you feed with during the winter.
Right.
It helps with all that. Yep. It's all an all-around experience, lifestyle experience.
Exactly. So has all the stuff coming online now? I mean, you've got Tractor House, Auction Time, Machinery Paper, stuff like that. Has that helped you hone in on like the auction business as far as like values and like, yeah, I think we should get this for it, or is that pretty much just...
As far as equipment sales go, yes,
Yeah.
it has. And of course, like I said, we do stuff online as well, equipment auctions and different things. But I still feel like when one person has a group of nice tractors, I can have a live auction and I can do it live and online. We have the facility to do that. And yes, it does in today's world. You can look up and see what something's going to bring and be pretty close to on either side of it, what's going to bring an auction.
And since COVID, have you seen, I mean, you mentioned earlier there's some uptick in like online auction stuff. Since COVID and we had all the lockdowns, has that been even more so now where you're seeing more online versus the people wanting to come there and have that hand, feel it, touch it experience?
I'm seeing a lot of auctioneers go to online. I'm seeing people that do participate in online auctions. And the reason I know them and see them is because there's 400 to 500 of them every Tuesday at the auction.
Right.
And they will say, well, I don't mind online auctions, but boy, I sure like being able to see it.
Right.
In the state of Illinois, of course, we sell firearms, and we sell, 1,000 firearms a year. We usually break it up into seasonal. So we'll do one here early spring, we'll do one early summer, fall, and then a winter auction. We usually have at least 4 in a year. And I ask, in the last 2 years, I've asked each time, which there'll be 400 guys sitting out there. And when I get to the microphone, I say, guys, I said, we sell them tonight, then you have to go do the paperwork with the dealer, and then you have to go back and pick them up. If we go to online auction, you don't get to handle them or touch them.
Right.
And you're going to buy them, and you're still going to drive to the dealer, do your paperwork, and then you're going to drive back and pick them up. I said, by a show of hands, who wants to keep feeling, seeing, touching, knowing what you're buying when you buy it? And it's, every hand. And they like it.
I can see that. 100%, because on a gun, you could have a crack here. just
our crowds that I take with online auctions now, our crowd has actually grown at our auction house because there's not many people doing live auctions anymore. So it's even boosted our prices and our crowd at our auction house.
I can see that.
For the want to be at a live auction.
I've always, I participated in some live auctions, don't get me wrong, but I've always kind of have that little devil on my shoulder chirping in my ear of well, what are they hiding? They didn't show a picture of this or that. And sometimes I've got burned and sometimes it's worked out just fine. But I think like you were saying that you're there, you can touch it, see it, feel it, smell it, hold it, whatever. makes that, gives people that peace of mind that, okay, yeah, I can give a couple $100 extra for this, or, oh no, there's an issue with this, but I can fix it for $50, so I'm willing to give a little extra. Or
You know what you're buying.
yeah, exactly. You know
It gives
exactly
a
what it
comfort
is.
to know what you're buying.
100%.